Welcome to Global Insiders Podcast. I am Ryan, the peripatetic one, bringing you information about opportunities relating to jobs, traveling, and any information that can elevate you to your rightful place in this thing called life. You can find more information and how to methods on globalinsidersgroup.com. That is insiders with an S. And here is today's show. Back to the show, Insiders. Today I have a very special guest. When I first envisioned this show, his name was at the head of the list of persons I needed to interview to make the show work, and he did not disappoint. He has actually been a return guest before. I am very happy once again to have him on the show, as I think we need his expertise to give us an understanding of some of the things that have major importance that are happening around the world as we speak. I am sure his analysis will help us. As you know, we always try to keep it positive, so even though things are looking slightly bleak on the global scale, we will find the hope in all this. Please open your ears and get ready to listen to Oliver, our economist on Global Insider Show. Welcome back, Oliver. For those who don't know you, brief introduction as to who you are.
So my name is Oliver Daley. I'm a financial services technology professional working in one of the largest global financial technology company. I am an enterprise relationship manager who looks after some of our largest global relationships with our asset management community. As Ryan said, my core discipline is economics. I also have postgraduate qualifications in investment management, investment and finance. Also worthwhile mentioning that I served in the British Army for 5 years.
Where are you now, Oliver?
I'm actually at home in London. I traveled for work to the Netherlands. I'll be in Netherlands in the week ahead as well. But on the weekends, I tend to be home if not traveling for leisure.
How often do you travel, Oliver?
It's on demand really, but for work now I try to travel 3 weeks out of the month. So it's across 6 core countries in Europe. So that's Switzerland, France, Netherlands, Norway, UK, and Germany. So I say it's on demand because of where our efforts are required. So, but because of our business in the Netherlands, I tend to use that as my base in Europe and then travel to the other countries. Yes.
So, Oliver, is this traveling all that it's made out to be? Is it fun?
Oh yes, certainly. Well, firstly, I guess it depends on whether or not you enjoy traveling. But as a kid growing up, I've always wanted to travel for work, to experience business travel per se, to learn different cultures, different business practices, and to understand how different economies operate. It is all that it is made out to be. It can be quite fun. So the days are long, especially in the Netherlands where the financial services market, it's more decentralized. The advantage of that is that you get to see the regional cities, so you get to travel across the country for work. And then we're set up in Amsterdam, so Amsterdam is a very it's a tourist mecca really. It's a very cool place to travel to. So it's hard throughout the days and then having a good time in the year.
At this point, how many countries have you traveled to?
Wow, difficult one, but I would say at a guess I would say somewhere close to 30 now.
30, that's impressive, man.
Right.
Do you have any favorites, and why?
Absolutely love Hong Kong. I'm still undecided on whether or not I would live there, but Hong Kong represents thing that I would love about, I guess, work-life balance. So again, the market is developed enough for you to, especially in my industry, to do good business. At the time, it's a tropical environment, so you're pretty much right next to the sea, and brings out a completely different vibe in the people, the way in which the people function, the type of food, the party scene per se. And then still enough there where you could actually raise a family and do that as well. So Hong Kong is pretty good.
I've never really thought about that, but now that you mention it, it makes sense. I mean, because what happens is that you're in a country that financially they're doing well, but they also have that vacation type climate where it's tropical. So that's a rarity in this world, really, having the best of both worlds. So I definitely can understand where you're coming from.
When you, to your point, when you look at most of the global economies, one thing that's always said to me is that you hardly find a first world country that's a tropical country. Yes, and when you think about it, it's only maybe Singapore and gets close to that per se. So it's quite good.
Well, I mean, right now, Hong Kong is going through some problems. Did you experience any of that while you were there?
Yes, I did. From mid-July for 2 weeks. So I got back, I think, on the 2nd, 3rd of August. I had first-hand experience. Yeah, we were out for dinner one Sunday evening, and because most of the city was, a portion of the city was closed off, we were to the metro to get to our hotel, and then we came upon a bunch of protesters, and we got involved. We got tear gassed, but it wasn't that bad per se. But yes, so we experienced it. It's a bit strange, but even though, so I know globally we're seeing on the news that there's a whole lot going on there, and that is accurate. But at the same time, Hong Kong is probably one of the most peaceful places that you could ever travel to. Even though there are demonstrations, protests, there isn't a whole lot of violence per se. So the city still functions. There are organized protests for the most part. So on the weekends, at least, this is what I saw on the weekends. The public got a chance to express their views on the matter, and then on a Monday morning, it's business as usual until again. So, yeah, not too bad that way.
Did you encounter any major disruption?
I mean, a fair bit of disruption, in all fairness, but because again, it's all relative. You grew up in a society where this is abnormal, then you're going to feel as if it's the worst thing that could possibly ever happen. But in the Americas, where the society functions apart in a different way, so I'm saying that if what's happening in Hong Kong, Americas, no one wouldn't even notice, to be honest.
Since you're on the topic of disruptions, I mean, there's an even bigger disruption happening right now that seems as if it will have a real impact globally on the world and on traveling and everything. And this is the America and China situation. Could you please share your thoughts on that one?
Well, I would say, I guess, from my experience, academic, even more so practically, what we see is a whole lot of business uncertainty. So China and the United States are over a third of our global economic activity. So if there are any tensions between those two countries, it will have a negative impact on the way in which we do business and the way in which we go about our lives. But I understand why the United States of America would find it necessary to ask some questions around how trade is occurring between both countries. So it's not only trade, but it's also having an appreciation for, I guess, how one should intellectual property of another country per se. And let's be clear, I'm not taking a position in the details fully, but based on my understanding, these are the things that are being discussed. But by way of a lot of business uncertainty, which will have a negative impact on companies in the Americas that wants to do business in China or has a portion of their revenue coming from China, and vice versa as well. And that will just have a ripple effect on the rest of the world.
Well, this is Global Insiders, and most of the people who listen to this show either travel or have ambitions to do so. So how do you see this affecting travel in the short and the long term?
Well, it depends on what you're traveling for. If it's business travel and needs must, then I don't think that has been impacted per se that much as yet, other than for those companies which are directly involved in the matter. For leisure, I don't see this being. For example, I would love to see China. I live in the UK. I would love to see China for leisure. Definitely want to do within the next couple of years, and I'm actively planning that trip. So it doesn't change my perception of whether or not I would travel to the country as a result of this. And it's a similar thing for the US. So because of the nature of my job, I have to our headquarters in the US member for work as well. So it doesn't affect me that way. I think what's happening with Brexit will have a much more direct impact on travelers actually, because of the Brexit and what it represents, that has a direct impact on the currencies of the UK. Currencies actually. What I've seen over the past few months, more so since maybe about March till now, it's been the US dollar has strengthened significantly against, made some strides against the euro as well. What that means really is that if all airlines or most airlines tend to price their tickets in US dollars as a base currency, so in the UK, traveling globally now automatically becomes more expensive. So that will have a more direct impact on my decision on whether to have a staycation, i.e. have a local holiday within the United Kingdom or even more so within Europe, as opposed to going further afield.
Well, sad to say, Oliver, bad news for you is actually good news for a lot of us.
Well, there you go. Win some, you lose some, right? Yes.
So with all of these things, how do you feel about AI and automation in the short and the long term for work?
Really good question. And actually passion of mine at the moment, because I have economics as my base, and I also studied demography as part of my A-level geography course. And then added on to that, I completed a master's in real estate investment and finance, where urban economics was one of the key topics being discussed there. I find this topic quite interesting. So for me, the future is going to be all about automation, right? For me, it's how quickly or slowly most industries adopt the technological capabilities that they can, that will allow them to increase efficiencies or gain some additional efficiencies from leveraging those technologies. And what that means really is, from an organizational standpoint, I think that most organizations will have to make a decision around how much capital they invest into that transformational aspect of do they allocate resources towards ensuring that their existing workforce gets upskilled to understand and be able to leverage new technologies which are in play, or is, from an HR strategy standpoint, are they looking to hire externally to get new talent into their organization who will be able to allow them the technology that I'm speaking of. As an example, what I see within our industry huge push towards automation for as far as much as process as would be allowed. In the trading space, we see a whole lot of automated trading technology being used to assist with members of the dealing desk away some of the low latency flows, some of the stuff that could just be sent to market, as opposed to having a trader physically handle each and every single order.
So, Oliver, this is Global Insiders, and I mean, very ambitious people listen to this show. If someone is in university now, how can they prepare themselves for this current world and the world that is to come, the work world?
I would first advise would be to do a whole lot of research around what the future of work looks like, and it depends on what you want to achieve with your career. So if one doesn't have to look too far to find articles which provides them with a view on where I guess those researchers think that think work will look like in the that said, it's a little bit difficult, to be honest, because it comes back down to what your passion is, what your drive is, where do you want to be, to develop and build a career. But the theme of automation will touch every I guess, industry. The
financial services is always a nice field that a lot of people want to get into. So let's focus on that one. How can we get people to get into that field?
Well, as a baseline, you would have to ensure that you, I would say the starting point should be ensuring that you get the requisite baseline qualifications to get into the field. I would not say one has to have a financial services degree. As a matter of fact, contrary, most of the persons that I interact with on a daily basis, their base is the arts. Some are a lot as well study languages. I've even met a few of my colleagues who have read for natural science degrees, but that's the baseline. What I see provides individuals with advantage at the tertiary level as well, or whilst they're completing tertiary studies, is to get onto internships. We have within our organization an intern program where encourage second, third year graduates or second, third year students to get onto an internship within our organization, so that they can 12 weeks working across various departments, and sometimes even traveling just to get a feel for what we do and what it would look like if in the industry. And that allows them to make a more informed decision, because some of the times you have an idea about what you think do, but having hands-on experience of that surely helps. I also had a situation recently where a friend of mine wanted her daughter to just get a day in her office or in her office because she was quite interested in news. And we have a very credible franchise. And I invited her to the office. I asked one of my colleagues who worked in that department to I guess, host her for a couple of hours. And the feedback was tremendous. So she had this as an idea that she wanted to be a journalist. And by the time she left, the feedback that I got from my friend was that she's so much focused now. She's absolutely certain that this is what she wants to do, and she's already seen the change in approach by way of her studies and the stuff that she's in as well, because she got quite a few good tips from my colleagues. So that's helped as well.
So, I mean, as I said, we definitely want to end this show on a high note, and that was a really good note right there. But we want to end it on an even higher note. So, which economies right now should people look at that, for growth? economies that seem as if they're about to take off or they're already taking off?
So I would say developing the African economies are making a push at the moment. So what we see is countries like Ethiopia making significant year-on-year growth in GDP. The main big countries in Africa, they are mainstay. They're the commodity economies. So you have the oil-producing nation of Nigeria, and then the commodities producing nation of South Africa. That way, for me, if you look into Asia, it's again the main ones. So it's Malaysia, Philippines is developing. In the Americas, I'm keen to promote Jamaica.
Absolutely no complaints here, sir.
I'm keen to promote Jamaica because I think we've corner wherein we're seeing heightened economic activity. We're seeing our gross domestic product GDP increasing. Some of the challenges that we've had in the economy, we're working through those, and we see a lot of infrastructure projects being spun up as well. But look, the way in which I see this, Ryan, is that the world is now a local marketplace. What I see a push between urbanization and I guess the opposite of that, working in a rural area, right? And to me, whatever simply tried to achieve is two things really. It's finding the right profession and finding the right, and it's as simple as that. So if you want to work in tech, you're going to have to find one of the tech hubs globally. Unless, of course, you're doing some freelancing software development where you can work from home if work allows you to function that way. If you want to become a teacher, you can pretty anywhere globally. But again, even on that spectrum, it's what do you want to achieve? Because we have friends of ours who work on the teens. So they work in the IB schools, and that is a different perspective from just working in one of the national schools. So there are opportunities there as well. If you want to work in finance, again, you have to find yourself in one of the main financial hubs. If you're working in medicine, then you could pretty much work. So I view the world as a local marketplace, but one should always make a decision around what sort of profession that they want to get into and try it with the location what that provides them with the best opportunity for success.
So Oliver, this is Global Insiders, and we must end with a really high note. So now, please indulge me in a word association game, okay? So the first word is travel.
Yes. Passion.
Life.
Exciting things. Growth.
Future.
Love.
Oliver, once again, thanks a lot for coming on the show. Thank you very much. All the best.
Yes, Ryan. Thank you very much for having me, and it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you.
Oh my, Oliver, how could I have forgotten? The book. We have to tell the listeners about the book, so please get into it. Don't hide anything. Let's go.
Thank you. It's that labor of love. It's quite interesting, Ryan, because I started off thinking that I wanted to write, in effect, a book that allows me to share my perspectives on, I guess, my journey thus far and how I have managed different states. So at every juncture in my life, it's always a case of finite resources and then being able to figure out how to thread the needle per se. How do I allocate my time, limited resources I have in order to progress myself, but also living in the now in terms of dealing with my commitments, right? And I've changed the approach a little bit for that. I want to give a very candid, very personal view on my experiences thus far. I do have a whole lot to share given the experience that I've had, and that has helped me a whole lot. So I'm effectively writing a memoir, but it will be an excellent read for whoever decides to go on the journey with me. So I'm so looking forward to in that by the back end this year. Hopefully we can get it published within back in the Q1 to Q2 next year. And I promise you that it will be such an amazing read that you will want to read it again. But stay tuned. Look forward to sharing my experiences thus far with you. For me, it's a continuum. So I grow. I look for opportunity out that stretches me, that allows me to grow. That in some sense puts me into difficult or should I say challenging, which then allows me to use my existing skill sets, but then also to learn through my experiences. So I welcome those challenges. I welcome failure because I think through failure you learn more, but also welcome a whole risk management. So you have to be able to manage states and manage the risk that comes with those, and not compromise the you get from that standpoint. So it's an amazing journey. I'm loving life and loving everything that I do on a daily basis, and look forward to share that with you in I guess formal manuscript per se.
Well, Oliver, I'm really looking forward to the book, and I'm sure it will be good.
Thank you.
I said it before, but once again, let me say bye for now. And of course, Oliver, as usual, I'm really honored each time I have you on the show. And guess what, man? I'm looking forward to our Christmas show where we'll just wrap up the year and talk about what's ahead for 2020.
Yes. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you are inspired. You can find more helpful and motivational material at globalinsidersgroup.com. That is, insiders with an S. You can also keep in touch at Global Insiders on Instagram. See you next time, but remember, you can be your own superhero. Bye.